There was a group of us, all of us going to the river. And for some reason, I was left behind. And they'd all gone on ahead of me, and I was just behind. And then I came up. There's this fern in the Caribbean, which has a hairy leg, a hairy trunk, and it had all these little tentacles that were winding and twirling out, and I was standing there thinking, they're going to grab me, they're going to grab me. And I remember thinking, I can't get past. What am I going to do? These things are going to grab my leg and they're going to swallow me up or eat me up or do something. And I remember thinking, what am I going to do? I want to go to the river because everybody else has gone to the river to have fun. But I'm stuck here. And so in the end, I must have just closed my eyes and ran past these things really fast. And then as I got past, I mean, as I remember now, there was a pool I think it was to my right. And I remember looking down inside this pool and the water was clear. It was crystal clear. It wasn't murky. It was like I could see to the bottom. I remember thinking, wow, look at that. I could see stones. It was like crystal. It was like, it just kind of lifted up to me, you know? And so that's where the name came from that story. So I went further. So after I saw the little pool, I went to the river, and I remember going to the river, but the water in the river was murky. I think counselling is like the contrast of a crystal clear place, crystal waters, and this murky place. And sometimes we are afraid to go into those murky places because sometimes you don't know what you're going to find. It's kind of there's this kind of uncertainty about it. And I think sometimes we have to go into those murky places for things to become clearer. You know, I grew up in a home where I think encouragement was lacking. As much as my parents gave us all the material things, they couldn't give us our emotional things. And I think in a way that stunted me as an adult, as a person, just as a child growing up. There are people who we walk about with those wounds inside. We walk about with those sadnesses inside and never having the voice or the language to express it. And I think I counsel to bring that out. That person doesn't have to stay with the sadness, stay with their pain, stay with their anxiety, stay with their dysfunctional family, stay with their lack of emotion, stay with their, their depression, paranoia, stay with their feelings of failure, I could do a host of things, things that I think I didn't have. It's like I want to give it back. It's like I'm thinking, if you have this, life will be better for you. Life would be more clearer. You'll understand what you're doing, where you're going. But because of not having it, it can stunt you. So I think when I counsel, what's in my mind, I think what's driving me is that I don't want anyone to experience what I've experienced. Not that I can stop it or I can halt it, but I don't want anyone to have that experience where, there's hurt inside and you can't get it out. So for me, counselling offers you that opportunity to kind of like sit with somebody if you didn't have the opportunity as a child or as a teenager or as a young adult to sit with someone and just talk. Just tell them what's going on. Share your vulnerabilities, share your weakness, and there's no, and you don't feel threatened, you don't feel judged, you just talk. And I think counselling can offer you that. The clients I have worked with, they've walked away with kind of like a new perspective on things, actually. A different way of doing things, a different way of looking at situations. Not that situations that are difficult won't come to them or won't challenge them, but they have kind of like a resource, that they can go to. So I think they walk away with this, this ability, this mind, I think, to think things can be different. What I always try to do is, throughout the counselling session, is to get the clients to see their strengths. See where even in a memory that may seem as though there's nothing there, you look at it and pull out something and you give it back to them. So they start seeing their strengths where they didn't see it before. Counselling for me works. I can see a sense in it. I would encourage everybody and anybody to get counselling, especially if you don't know how to move from your, what's going on in your life. And there's so many people that have so many different things going on and they don't know how to move. When you're with a client and you see that they get you're having this conversation and you see they get it, they start getting it. Sometimes, they get it and they think, oh, they start making sense of what because I think counseling you don't have the answer answers as a counsellor. You know, you kind of, you know, what you have is your training, and what you have is your, you know, your foundation. You know where to go and what questions to ask. But the client comes with their story, and their story is unique, and what you help them to do sometimes is unpack that story. It's a bit like a puzzle. You take it apart and then you put it back together again, and they start making sense of it. And so when you see them start making sense and putting the pieces together, you think, wow. I'm Faye Lindo, founder of Crystal Waters Counselling, based in Watford.